Hello. Okay, so I'm hoping it's posted at this point. I'm probably going to make this one private until the first half posts so that everybody's not very confused. But it's December 10th. The 2019 11th annual Goodreads Choice Awards winners were posted today. So I was doing a video discussing the which books won, which ones were nominated, which ones I already wanted to read, what I've heard about them, the ones I've read, what I liked, just a big long discussion. Long being the operative word, as the first off, my child was a crazy thing, and it got to be a bit of a cluster, and in the midst of that, my phone got full, and my internet sucks, so hours later, it's still uploading. But now, hours later, Alex is home. I'm using his phone. The quality on this thing is amazing. Hi, baby. I am filming. Can you please go play with Scott and Daddy?
May I have a kiss?
Yes, you may have a kiss. You're precious. So, back to where it cut off. We were in the middle of the best science and technology. The winner was Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs, which I have read. I voted for, loved it. Was 4 stars. We went through a lot of the ones that were nominated, and we were talking about River. This is the second half of this video. Please go in the living room for at least half of the video, please. Go. We were talking about Indistractable, which this video is not on either half. How to Control Your Attention and Choose Your Life by Nir Eyal. That one is 13th place. Okay, so now we're caught up, and I'm just going to start back where I left off. Then there is Burnout, The Secret to Unlocking the Stress Cycle by Emily Nagoski. Because Internet, Understanding the New Rules of Language by Gretchen McCulloch. That either would be a really interesting book or it'll really annoy me, one of the two. Lifespan, Why We Age and Why We Don't Have to by David A. Sinclair. The Perfect Predator, A Scientist's Race to Save Her Husband from a Deadly Superbug, a memoir by Stephanie Strathty. Super Pumped, The Battle for Uber. Sorry, there was something on my screen. I couldn't tell what letter that was. By Mike Isaac. Something Deeply Hidden, Quantum Worlds and the Emergence of Spacetime by Sean Carroll. That sounds really interesting. Blueprint, The Evolutionary Origins of a Good Society by Nicholas A. Christakis. Okay, so that's all that. The next category is food and cookbooks. If for some reason you did not watch the first half of this video, which I really recommend you doing first, I'll be adding all of the books, well, with some exceptions that you'll see, that I haven't already read to my want to read list, and then I've got a special shelf for the winners. But there are some that I'm like, ooh, that's like particularly interesting to me. For food and cookbooks, the only ones I put on my want to read list are the ones that are actual books. I don't put the cookbooks on there because I don't really properly read cookbooks. My grandma does, and I just don't. They make me want to cook all the things, and I buy all the things to cook all the things, and it's just not in our budget. So, the winner is Antoni in the Kitchen by Antoni Porowski. Okay, so that looks to be a cookbook. Yes. Then there is The Adventurous Eaters Club, Mastering the Art of Family Mealtime by Misha Collins. And I'm not sure if this is a cookbook or not, but I might get it from the library anyway, because Castiel, my supernatural nerds out there. Let's see. Notes from a Young Black Chef by Kwame. I really gotta clean my computer screen. Anuachi. This one's a memoir, so that'll get added. The Little Women Cookbook, Tempting Recipes from the March Sisters and Their Friends and Family. That sounds cool. I might check it out from the library. The cookbooks, sometimes I still check them out from the library if they look interesting. I just don't always, read them. Rachel Ray, 50 Memories and Meals from a Sweet and Savory Life by Rachel Ray. Plant-based on a budget, delicious vegan recipes for under $30 a week for less than 30 minutes a meal by Tony Akamoto. That might be interesting. Let's Make Ramen, a comic book cookbook by Hugh Amano. Now, I actually did get this from the library for Alex when I saw it was nominated because it looked cool and he loves, proper ramen. And he said it looked really neat. He just didn't have time to look through it right now, but it did. It's like a comic book cookbook is exactly what it says. It looked really cool. Let's see. Save Me the Plums, My Gourmet Memoir by Ruth Reichel. Oh, that's a book. Indian-ish, Recipes and Antics from a Modern American Family by Priya Krishna. Happiness is Baking, Cakes, Pies, Tarts, Muffins, Brownies, Cookies. Favorite Desserts from the Queen of Cake by Maida Heder. I said this in the first half of the video, but I'm probably going to mispronounce a lot of people's names. I'm sorry, and I'm going to do my best, but I'm not going to say I'm sorry 50 times. Forking Good, a cookbook inspired by The Good Place by Valia Judicic Lupescu. Alex really likes that show. I might have to check that one out for him. The Clean Plate, Eat, Reset, Heal by Gwyneth Paltrow. Let's see, I think that's a cookbook. My dog is crazy. Zaitoon, Recipes from the Palestinian Kitchen by Yasmin Khan. No Crumbs Left, Whole30 endorsed, Recipes for Everyday Food Made Marvelous by Terry Turner. Sunny Side Up, more than 100 breakfast and brunch recipes from the essential egg to the perfect pastry by Waylin Lucas. Binging with Bobbish, 100 recipes recreated from your favorite movies and TV shows by Andrew Ray. That might be interesting. Midnight Chicken and Other Recipes Worth Living For by Ella Risbridger. Nothing Fancy by Allison Roman. Mostly Plants, 101 Delicious Flexitarian Recipes from the Pollen Family by Tracy Pollen. Burn the Place, a memoir by Ileana Reagan. I think there are more cookbooks and less books about food in this category than there were last year. But that's just me thinking. I could entirely be wrong. The next category is graphic novels and comics. I think this one's probably going to be more interesting than some of the other ones we've discussed. So Okay. I also love that Alex's phone, unlike mine for some reason, has a pause button when you're filming. So the winner is Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell and illustrated by Faith Erin Hicks. Not surprised by that whatsoever. Everybody's been talking about it. This hadn't made it on my want to read list yet, but I do have it ordered from the library right now because one of the YouTubers I really like, Victoria Joyce, who is not a booktuber, was talking about how good it is, and I was like, okay, fine, if everybody and the non-booktube YouTubers are talking about it, then I should order it. Especially since it's a graphic novel, and it'll take me 2 seconds to read. And we've got... Sorry. Still getting over being sick. Then we have Heartstopper Volume 2, which is obviously Book 2 in the Heartstopper series by Alice Oseman. Heard a lot of people talk about Volume 1. Possibly Volume 2, I'm not sure. The Handmaid's Tale, the graphic novel by Margaret Atwood. I've heard a lot of people talk about that. They Called Us Enemy by George Takei. I just read this yesterday. I wish I'd read it sooner so that I could have voted for it, because I gave this 5 stars. Even if it doesn't sound interesting, read this. Is such an important book, and I just did a review on it too, as I've been doing, so go check that out. The one I did vote for is Book Love by Debbie Tung. It's a bookish, comic-y book. It's really cute. I love it. Definitely recommend. I give it 5 stars. There were a handful on here that I'd read, actually, and I liked this one the best, so I voted for it. But if I had finished the George Takei book before the voting was up, I would have voted for it instead. Let's see. Then we have Teen Titans Raven by Cami Garcia. Oh, that's cool. I used to love watching that show. Shades of Magic Volume 1, The Steel Prince by V.E. Schwab. See, this seems like everybody voted on this because it's V.E. Schwab and it's Shades of Magic, but everybody that I actually heard talk about it had issues with the art style. They said you couldn't tell the characters apart. So, I do want to read this, but I need to finish reading the, books in the series. I read the first book, loved it, got the second book, excitedly straight bought it because I figured I'd love it too, and got a couple chapters in, I was like, bleh. So, it's been sitting on my shelf and I need to just finish it so I can read book 3. Excuse me. Okay. And then we have The Umbrella Academy Volume 3, Hotel Oblivion, which is book number 3 in the Umbrella Academy series. Everybody's been talking about this whole series too. Then we have Mooncakes by Suzanne Walker. This has hard of hearing representation among a lot of other representations. And I really enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars. I have a review for it. Go check that out. But if it sounds interesting, go ahead and pick it up. It's really good. Then there's Paper Girls Volume 5 by Brian K. Vaughan. I gave this one 4 stars. I like the series, but it's starting to get a little weird. Not sure if I have a review on this. I wouldn't be surprised. I probably do, but I'm not positive. Let's see. Then there's Kid Gloves 9 Months of Careful Chaos by Lucy Kinsley. Bloom by Kevin Panetta. I've heard a ton of people talk about that. Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me by Mariko Tamaki. I've heard some people talk about that. Good Talk, A Memoir and Conversations by Mira Jacob. Under the Moon, A Catwoman Tale by Lauren Miracle. Oh, that could be really interesting. The Adventure Zone, Murder on the Rockport Limited by Clint McElroy. Monstrous Volume 4, The Chosen by Marjorie M. Liu. Now, I've read some of the Monstrous ones. At least the first 2. I might have read the first 3. I didn't know there was a 4th volume out, honestly. And it's really interesting. I don't have a problem with graphic novels. I enjoy them. It's just this one, I love seeing the art for it. I love, the fact that as a graphic novel, it is illustrated. And I love the world. But I don't really get into the books because there's just so much. I think I would grasp it and comprehend it more if it was like a novel, like a book. So that's the issue I have with Monstrous. And then there's Fence Volume 3 by C.S. Pacat. I gave this 3 stars. There's actually 2 reviews for this on my channel. One from when I read it and one from when my husband read it, because he likes reading these as well. It's good. I never feel like much happens. And plus it's about a sport, and I'm not a sport person. But I never feel like much happens. But, they're supposed to be coming out with like a book, like a novel, in 2020. So I'm looking forward to seeing that because I might enjoy it more. Okay, which is The Wicked and the Divine series, book number 9 by Kieran Gillen. I read some of these, but I haven't finished this. I have not caught up with the series, which I need to do. lost my train of thought. I like the concept. Like anything with old gods in modern time period, I enjoy the concept, but I just haven't really gotten into this series. It's a little crazy, and not in like a ooh, like in a ooh kind of way, you know? If that makes any sense. Then there is Die Volume 1 Fantasy Heartbreaker, also by Kieran Gillen. Interesting. Okay, then the next category is poetry. I know I've read at least one or two from this category. Okay, so the winner is Shout by Laurie Halse Anderson. Then second place is the one I voted for, which is The Mermaid's Voice Returns in this one by Amanda Lovelace. I'm not a big poetry person. If you guys have watched my videos, you know this. So if I read a poetry book, I'll probably like it. I usually like them. Most of them get 3 stars from me. But you can tell I really liked it if I'm like sharing some of the poems with Alex. And this one, I not only did that, but I also bought a copy because there's a lot of Shakespeare references. Honestly, that's why I bought a copy. There's a lot of Shakespeare references in it, so I really like this one. The Truth About Magic by Atticus Poetry. I read a couple of his other books on a recommendation of a work friend, Ariana, and I liked them. I enjoyed them. They were good. And then she said that his new book, this one, sounded like it was pretty good too, and that she was looking forward to reading it. So I got it from the library and read it straight off, and it was also good. I enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars. Then there's Lord of the Butterflies by Andrea Gibson. That is probably just River jumping on Alex's stomach after he ate, if you can hear that. Great Goddesses, Life Lessons from Myths and Monsters by Nikita Gill. That sounds interesting. Love Looks Pretty on You by Ling Leave. A Bound Woman is a Dangerous Thing. The Incarceration of African American Women from Harriet Tubman to Sandra Bland by Damaris B. Hill. When You Ask Me Where I'm Going by Jasmine Kaur. Empty Bottles Full of Stories by R.H. Sin. Life of the Party by Olivia Gatwood. Magical Negro by Morgan Parker. Almost Home Poems by Madison Kuhn. The Tradition by Jericho Brown. Deaf Republic Poems by Ilya Kaminsky. Now, I read this one. I did not rate it. If you really want to know what I thought, go look at the review I did on it, because, I mean, you guys know me. You should be able to figure out why I picked this up. There's deafness involved in it, but I really don't know. Seeing as I'm not deaf and I'm still pretty new to the program that I'm in, I don't know how to feel about this collection of poetry. It's interesting for sure, and I would definitely say pick it up if you're at all curious about it, but I just don't know how to feel about it. So I chose not to rate it because of that. There's Soft Science by Franny Choi. I'm Not Your Paper Princess Poems by J.R. Rogue. The Octopus Museum Poems by Brenda Shaughnessy. I read this one. I gave it 4 stars. This was really good. It was kind of weird, but it was good. Kind of dystopian-ish, I think. I did a review on it, I'm sure, so go check that out. But yeah, I mean, you heard I said 4 stars for me on a book. Poetry is pretty good. Aphrodite Made Me Do It by Trista Matier. A Fortune for Your Disaster by Hanif Abdurraqib. And then The Girl Aquarium by Jen Campbell. Okay, so the next category is debut novel. Now this overlaps with some of the other categories, which kind of annoys me. The winner for this is Red, White, and Royal Blue. See, it also won romance, and I don't think it's fair that you can win 2 of them. But that's just me. So a lot of these we've already talked about. Red, White, and Royal Blue, The Silent Patient, My Sister the Serial Killer, 10 Doors of January, The Water Dancer, and then we've got Evie Drake Starts Over by Linda Holmes. I think this was a NaNoWriMo project, but I'm not sure. On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, A Woman Is No Man. Did I mention this one already? The Secrets We Kept by Laura Prescott. The book Olive from the book Olive, she talked about this one, and it was, I think she said some of it was inaccurate or something. I don't know. Go look at her review for that, because I don't know what I'm talking about. I haven't read it, and it's not my area at all. There's Queenie, Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin, which is book 1, the Serpent and Dove series. Miracle Creek by Angie Kim, The Most Fun We Ever Had. Boy Swallows Universe by Trent Dalton. When All Is Said by Anne Griffin. House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin Craig. I don't know if we talked about that one. I was really wanting to read that, and it's on my want to read list. I just haven't got there yet. We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faisal, book number 1 in the Sands of Arawiya series. Getting the 9th. The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez. We talked about that. And Fisherman's in Trouble. Like I said, most of those we've already talked about. Okay, so then there is Best Young Adult Fiction. The winner was 5 Feet Apart by Rachel Lippincott. So this one, from what I've heard, first off, a lot of people were talking about earlier in the year. But from what I've heard, it's a book based on the movie. So that's interesting. Some people I know were saying that it's like a knockoff Fault in Our Stars, and that it's like, just read Fault in Our Stars and you're good kind of thing, but we'll see. On the Come Up by Angie Thomas, that's already on my want to read list. I still need to read the first book. Oh, I am so not here. Her first book. I need to read that one first, The Hate U Give. Of course, everybody's talked about this one. I've heard that it's really good to read the audiobook for this, because then you can hear her music. See, With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. I've heard everybody talking about this one. Two Can Keep a Secret by Karen M. McManus. I've heard some people talk about that one. The Fountains of Silence by Ruta Sepetys. Again But Better by Christine Riccio. She is a booktuber, so a ton of people were excited about this book. I've heard everybody talking about this book. I've heard some people really like it. It seems to be one of those books you like or hate. So you love or hate. So I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deaver. I've heard quite a few people talk about that one. The Vanishing Stair by Maureen Johnson, book 2 in the Truly Devious series. I've heard quite a few people talk about this, and I still need to read book 1. American Royals by Catherine McGee, which is book 1 in the American Royal series. I've heard a ton of people talk about this. The Rest of the Story by Sarah Dessen. I've heard a couple people talk about this one. Capturing the Devil by Carrie Maniscalco, which is book 4 in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. This one is about H.H. Holmes, which is really exciting, and I'm really excited about this book, but I still need to finish book 2. So I'll get there. Hopefully next year. Internment by Samira Ahmed. I've heard a few people talk about that one. The Princess and the Fangirl, which is book 2 in Once Upon a Con. It's by Ashley Poston. This is on my want to read list. I want to read it because it is, I've heard a ton of people talk about it. This one is a Prince and the Pauper retelling. I still need to read book 1. Frankly in Love by David Yoon, which is book 1 in the Frankly in Love series. Serious Moonlight by Jen Bennett. Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds. I've heard a lot of people talk about that one. The Grace Year by Kim Liggett. I want to read this one. I think it was dystopian-ish, but I'm not. A speculative thriller, it says. It sounded really interesting. heard a few people talk about it. I've got out from the library right now. I just haven't read it yet. Lovely War by Julie Berry. Love from A to Z by S.K. Lee. And Birthday by Meredith Russo. So the next category is young adult fantasy and science fiction. So the winner, which is not a huge surprise, is The Wicked King by Holly Black, which is, come on, load, book number 2 in the Folk of the Air series. I need to read book 1, but I'm getting there. I'm working on catching up with all my Holly Black stuff. What did I just read? I just read her Maleficent book, and I've got Valiant ordered from the library, so I'll get there. I love Holly Black's books. Then Wayward Son by Rainbow Rowell, which is book number 2 in the Simon Snow series. I loved Carry On, and I really enjoyed Wayward Son. And the supernatural nerd in me is loving the reference in the titles. So I give this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. This is not, oh yeah, I know why I didn't vote for that. So I was going through this, and there was a couple, well, maybe that one that I thought I might vote for, and then I saw the one I did vote for, and there was no question. So we'll get there. Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare, which is book 3 in the Dark Artifices series. I ain't really behind in the Shadowhunters universe. I'm still in the first series, and I think I've read the first 2 books, so I really need to catch up on that. All of these catching up on series is as major goals for next year that I probably won't meet. Another one, King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo, book 1, the Nikolai duology. I need to catch up on her other series, and then I can read this because this is on my want to read shelf. Wilder Girls by Rory Power. It sounds so cool. I've heard it compared to Lord of the Flies. I really want to read this. The Toll by Neil Shusterman, which is book 3 in the Ark of a Scythe series. I think this is the end of the series, and I need to read book 1 desperately. A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kimmer, which is apparently book 1 in the Cursebreaker series. I did not know that was a series. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling that I really want to read. Finale by Stephanie Garber, book 3 in the Carval series. I still need to read book 1. Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. I voted for this one. I gave it 5 stars because I could not give it 6. This is a bookish book. It is a fantasy book. It is unfortunately a standalone, and it is bloody freaking amazing, and you need to read it yesterday. It is so good. I did a review on this. Go watch it. It's so good. So good. So good. I might have to buy a copy. It's so good. It's so good. That's basically what the review is. It's just me saying it's so good over and over, but it was so good. Aurora Rising by Amy Kaufman, book 1, the Aurora Cycle. This says Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff on the cover. I need to read this. I think I was getting it confused with something else, which is why I haven't read it yet. Supernova by Marissa Meyer, which is book 3 in the Renegade series. I thought it was book 2, and I still need to read book 1 and catch up on the Lunar Chronicles because I have not finished that series yet either. Defy Me by Tahira Mafi, which is book 5 in the Shatter Me series. I need to read book 1. You see a theme here. Blood Witch by Susan Dennard, which is book 3 in the Witchland series. I need to read book 1, which I actually have physically on my shelves because I got it really cheap on clearance at the bookstore. Call Down the Hawk by Maggie Stiefvater, which is book 1 in the Dreamer series. I need to catch up on my other Maggie Stiefvater books. I think I actually have the next Raven Cycle book in my library pile. Four Dead Queens by Astrid Schulte. This is not on my list, but I've heard that it's really good, and I've been considering putting it on my list. Rebel by Marie Lu, which is book 4 in the Legends series. The Secret Commonwealth, which is by Philip Pullman, which is book 2 in the Book of Dust series. The Book of Dust series is in the same universe, and you're supposed to read it after the other series. Oh, you all know what I'm talking about. I can't think of it. His Dark Material series. I was not allowed to read those as a kid, so I've got them now. And I need to read them, but it's a big bind up, and I hate bind ups. But it was only like 50 cents, so I'm kind of, I'll get there, but I need to read them, and then I need to read these. Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin, which is book 1, the Serpent and Dove series. I've heard great things about this. We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faisal, which is book 1, the Sands of Arawiya series. And then The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chokshi, which is book 1, the Gilded Wolves series. This seems to be a love or hate kind of book, and it's on my list because I really need to read it. And it came out like the very beginning of this year, and I still haven't read it. Next section is middle grade and children's. So the winner is The Tyrant's Tomb by Rick Riordan, which is, come on, load. Book 4 in the Trials of Apollo series. I can't read the Trials of Apollo yet because I need to read the other series before that to get to that point, which I need to just catch up on because I love the books and I'm buying them, but I need to just read them. I just have so many books that I end up getting from the library. Excuse me. Okay, let's see, where were we? Tunnel of Bones by Victoria Schwab, book 2 in the Cassidy Blake series. I need to read the first book. Guts by Raina Telgemeier. I haven't heard anything about this. This must be a true middle graders are reading it book and not just booktubers. See, I'll have to ask my 12-year-old if she's heard of that one. The Remarkable Journey of Coyote Sunrise by Dan Gimenhart. New Kid by Jerry Craft. A Crystal of Time by Soman Chainai, which is book 2 in the School for Good and Evil, the Camelot years. Okay, so I was very confused because I was thinking when I saw this, the School for Good and Evil books, those came out ages ago. But I guess this is like a spin-off series. So I need to read book 1 of the original series, which I may or may not have on my shelves. I don't know. Dragon Pearl by Yoon Ha Lee. I've been wanting to read this one. I've checked it out a few times. I just haven't got there yet. Diary of an Awesome Friendly Kid, Raleigh Jefferson's Journal by Jeff Kinney. I definitely want to read this, but I feel like I should catch up on the Diary of a Wimpy Kid books first. Not sure. The Strangers by Margaret Peterson Haddix, which is book 1 in the Greystone Secret series. I haven't heard anything about this, but it looks interesting. Arusha and the Song of Death by Roshani Chokshi. This is book 2 in the Pandava Quartet. I need to read book 1. The Bridge Home by Padma Venkatraman. Haven't heard of it. Other Words for Home by Jasmine Warga. Legacy, which is by Shannon Messenger, so points for having my first name. And book 8 in the Keeper of the Lost Cities series. I've heard about this, but only like by one YouTuber. And it sounded kind of interesting, but I'm trying to not add too much to my want to read shelves because it's way too long already. But I'll have to read book 1 now and start this series so I can read book 8. Gives me a good excuse. I think I was kind of hoping it would be on here so I would have an excuse to read it. Shouting at the Rain by Linda Mullally Hunt. Two Night Owl from Dogfish by Holly Goldberg Sloan. I've heard a lot about this one. Dead Voices by Catherine Arden, book 2 in the Small Spaces series. The Unteachables by Gordon Corman. A Tale of Magic by Chris Colfer. That looks interesting. Dear Sweet Pea by Julie Murphy. And then Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky by Kwame Mabalia, which is book 1 of the Tristan Strong series. I've got this out from the library right now. I just need to read it. And then the next, and I believe final category, is picture books. Now, what I tend to do with picture books category is I order all of the nominees from my library, and my daughter and I read them together, my youngest daughter. Yes, this is the last category. Oh, yay, it won! So this one is the one I voted for because she loved it so much that I need to buy her own copy. I would have done it instantly, we just didn't have the money. And that is A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, The Poetry of Mr. Rogers. By Fred Rogers, obviously. And then it says the illustrators, Luke Flowers, and the contributors, Josie Carey. She loved this. She's 2. Absolutely loved this. I voted for this one because that's the one I knew she would have voted for. And I don't rate the books that we read together. A lot of times I don't even do reviews of them, but we might. Those seem to be popular on my channel, so we might do them. So it looks like there's only like one of these we haven't read. So we read, so then second place, and from there. Solwi by Lupita Nyong'o. This one we had to wait for from our library because it took forever to come in. Other people had it. It was really cute. It was really good. Would definitely recommend. I think it's definitely meant for kids with darker skin, but I don't see any reason why kids with lighter skin can't read it. I just think it's more important for them than it is for lighter skin kids, if you know what I mean, because it's about being okay with your skin being a different color of dark than it is your siblings or whatever. It's really cute. I really liked it. I think River liked it too. She got a kick out of the end papers. The Good Egg by Jory John. I don't remember this one as much. It was good. I mean, I think they were all good. She doesn't sit still for books much anymore. But, that was cute. Hair Love by Matthew A. Cherry. This one, it's mainly about having natural, like African American hair, but it's still really cute regardless, and I think it would still have a place for kids that have other types of hair, because it's primarily about this girl's mom is out of town and her dad's trying to figure out how in the world to do his kid's hair, which is just hilarious and cute, and I enjoyed reading it with River. The reason I'm not mentioning the illustrators is because they're not popping up when I hover over it, and I can't read them off the covers. Unicorn Day by Diana Murray. River really enjoyed this one. She liked all the glitter and the sparkles, and it was really, as with pretty much all of these, it was really cute. You'll hear me say that a lot. A Tiger Like Me by Michael Engler. This one was really cute. As an adult, I liked the little, it's translated, so I liked the little things like you could see, I think it's translated from German, but I might be wrong. But you could see oh, that's a European wall outlet, not an American one. Oh, that paper, the paper and the illustration, the words on it were not translated, so that was cute. It was just, and she fell asleep on me when I was reading this to her, which was just adorable, which meant it also means that she sat still enough that she passed out. So, points for that one. Because by Mo Willems. Mo Willems is a great one. This was really good. I like this a lot. We Are Not Friends by Anna King. That was really cute. Just Because by Mac Barnett. I like this one a lot because it's this really inquisitive kid. A Piglet Named Mercy by Kate DeCamillo. This was adorable. I love this one. It's one of those ones that it seems like it would be a series, but it's not, and it should be because I liked it so much. Pirates Don't Go to Kindergarten by Lisa Robinson. This was really cute and a good one about, moving on to kindergarten from preschool and that sorts of thing. The Prize Blue by Ibtihaj Muhammad. I think this is another one it's really good and it's also really important. How to Read a Book by Kwame Alexander. Excuse me, I had way too much dinner. This one was good, but it's one of those ones that it's a poem in picture book form, so I didn't enjoy it as much, and River just wanted to turn the pages because they were colorful. It's Not Hansel and Gretel by Josh Funk. This is really cute. Hansel and Gretel was like my favorite fairy tale when I was a kid, and I really like this a lot. Fry Bread, a Native American family story by Kevin Noble Maillard. We're still waiting on this one to come in from the library, so we haven't read it yet. What If Everybody Thought That by Ellen Javernick. This one was really, really good, and I really liked it and really appreciated it and think it's really important, but it's kind of wordy for a 2-year-old to sit through. I think it would be better for like a 4 or 5-year-old, but it's definitely really good and, again, important. Vacation for Dexter by Lindsay Ward, book 3 in the Dexter T. Rexter series. She liked this one. She mostly was obsessed with the end papers on this one. And yes, my 2-year-old is my child and knows what end papers are. I'm a very proud mother. The Undefeated by Kwame Alexander. This was also kind of a poem in picture book form, but not so much. And I liked how I was talking about different people that were important to talk about. So this one I liked a little bit more. And River wasn't too terribly interested in it, however. This one, though, Rosie the Dragon and Charlie Make Waves by Lauren H. Kirstein. River loved this one. She made me read it to her, then she made Alex read it to her, and then she read it to herself about 3 times, and she didn't want me to return it to the library. And then Snow Globe Wishes by Erin Dealey. This is another poem in picture book format. It's really cute story, and I don't like the poetry thing. I don't like the rhyming thing. I don't dislike it. There are other things I like better, So if River was doing the voting, she would have voted for A Beautiful Day in Our Neighborhood as her vote, which is why I voted the way I did. Then she probably would have put Rosie the Dragon and Charlie Make Waves as her second place, and then Unicorn Day as her third, and Vacation for Dexter as maybe fourth. Those are the only ones that seem like she really had opinions on. We're still waiting for Fry Bread to come in from the library. If you want me to do a review with River when we get that, let me know and I will. Otherwise, I'm going to stop talking now because my voice is shot. You got 2 45-minute halves of this. I hope you guys liked this video. I know it's like stupid long, but I thought it might be fun and something unique and interesting to do. Let me know what you guys thought about the video, if I should do it again next year or just save my breath, or maybe just talk about the winners. Questions, comments, opinions, let me know down below. Otherwise, don't forget to subscribe. If you made it through the whole 2 45-minute chunks, you're insane, and you had to have eaten a lot of snacks. And thank you. And I will see you guys next time.